in sala di accomodarsi. Se vi potete accomodare, per cortesia, diamo inizio al prossimo evento. Io sono Alberto Grandi, giornalista di Wired, e sono qui per introdurre un evento in cui si parlerà di due, diciamo, qualità fondamentali oggi per fare innovazione, che sono la creatività e la competenza tecnologica. Due qualità che nel passato potevano essere quasi considerate antitetiche, invece che oggi devono sposarsi appunto per creare qualcosa di nuovo e funzionale nel nostro mondo. A parlare di questo argomento abbiamo invitato Marco Trombetti, che è fondatore di Translated, un'azienda leader nel mondo, nel campo della traduzione e che ha applicato l'intelligenza artificiale alla traduzione, e fondatore di P-Campus, un luogo a Roma, un fondo di investimento in cui vengono allevate e fatte crescere delle start-up. Insieme a lui abbiamo Jamshid Alamuti, che è un talento e un formatore di talenti, ed è stato direttore di uno dei luoghi più importanti per quanto riguarda la creatività a livello mondiale, che è la Berlin School of Creative Leadership. Insieme questi due personaggi hanno dato vita a qualcosa di particolare che ci racconteranno. Quindi io invito a salire sul palco Marco Trombetti e Jamshid Alamuti.
They actually got us away from one another.
Okay, first question to you, Marco. So, how did you meet, and how did you fall in love, from a creative point of view, obviously?
So, being as a background a scientist and engineer, I don't fall in love. I programmatically analyze the things and basically I act. Jam is the guy of love, and that is the mix that we have. So I think I will leave to Jam to tell the story of how we meet. And I think it was in Barcelona, right?
That's correct. I'm leading various creative environments, and I was hosting actually a show in Barcelona where Marco was competing with another tech guy on a stage. And my job was to question them and give them a hard time. But he was too nice. He was the first venture capitalist who was trying to really convince everyone that it's good to invest in technology, but he wouldn't want to do it without creativity being the spice on top of it, because he wanted to keep the human side. And that convinced me. We fell in love on that very evening. We had a glass of wine, I think, right after that show. And a week later, I was in Rome, and a couple of months later, we opened our own school. That's how the story went.
Okay. And so, why did you create this school, and how it works?
So, and that's where I would like to have maybe 2 slides to give some good news. So first, my background. I'm a technology entrepreneur. I founded a company in 1999, Translated. This company was applying artificial intelligence at that time. It was not very cool, the name artificial intelligence. Luckily for me, it became very cool now. And basically, we automated many of the process that professional translators were doing. We're collecting data, learning how they were correcting mistakes, and having the machines to learn from those corrections all the time. That company was a good success. Our first customer was Google in Mountain View. That we've been translating the AdWords for them in an exclusive way for many years. And basically, with the profit of that company, I created a venture fund. The venture fund has been investing in 34 startups, most of them here in Italy, but also some in California. And the idea is that I didn't want to move my company into California. I wanted to stay here, and I wanted to help more entrepreneurs creating companies in Italy, because I just realized that with my own business that it's possible to create a world leader anywhere in the world if you just have the right attitude. And But in the same time, and that's why the school, there was something incredibly that was happening. And I think that that is the bad news for me, and maybe the good news for some other people. As soon as I was moving forward, I was realizing that technology is becoming a commodity. So the reason why you buy your next computer or your next phone is not really the technical specs. 10 years ago was like this. You were looking how much RAM, how much CPU. Now you buy it because of the experience it gives you, the emotions. And the good news basically is that here in Europe, and especially in Italy, we have an unfair competitive advantage. We're better than anyone else in designing experiences. So if you're able to create world-class technology and you add emotions into it, then you can create the next Google, the next Facebook, the next Apple, actually, the better version of them. And so I said I should partner with Jam and try to create a new kind of school that puts together creativity and technology so that we allow these people to meet and create new things. And there is a precedence. I want to show you that something that has been done many years ago, 1964. This was Olivetti, the P101, the first personal computer. And 12 years after, another company created this computer. And the next slide that you will see, that people think is the first personal computer. So Olivetti was able to bring together design and technology in a great way, but the timing was wrong, sorry. This 12 years after, Apple, that's how it looks like, the Apple I. You know, Olivetti, 12 years before, Apple I. So at that time, we were completely wrong about timing, but we now think that the timing is absolutely perfect. And so in this place that you see here, we're basically creating this school to put the creative minds, the best creative minds, and the best technologists to meet in our school and maybe decide to launch the next Apple.
Okay, so let's talk about creativity. And this question is to you, Jamshid. So how the creativity is changing the tech world?
I wouldn't say that one is changing the other. I would want to say they both desperately need each other and are closer to one another than we've been ever thinking about. Do you know these two brain halves, like the one is for logic and the one for creativity? Anyone here who could nod and say this is the case? So sadly for us, I've been actually teaching that for years, realizing this is not true. There is no left side, right side, and if you have that side stronger, you're creative. If you have that side stronger, you have your logic. Both sides desperately need each other and are interconnected, research showed just recently. So I think when it comes down to the dependency is much more an interdependency between the two, enhancing one another. And that's where our idea comes from. I mean, we don't even need to sell the idea of the school. It is the desperate need of having it. The story is, how can you get diversity coming together to give the complete picture? That's why, if you say like why creativity needs technology or why technology needs creativity, I would say they actually are interdependent to one another. It's not a matter of need. Only the two can work together. Take innovation and tell me what else but creativity and technology can come together to create the right innovation.
Okay. And what do you think about this?
I obviously agree, otherwise he was not my partner.
So you think that creativity is absolutely necessary to create, to make technology useful to people?
It's definitely yes. I mean, it's like, to me, technology was like, give you an example. Now, building a house. Now, you basically need some place to cover yourself from cold and water and rain, and you just build a very bad-looking structure. That serves the purpose. And that is what technology is today. An architect will build something you will love to live in. And that's where we need to go. And we're not going there without putting different skills into the play. And I'm an engineer. I realize the limit that we have and the people like me have.
If I have time, I need to clarify something, because I think this is the issue where if we try to separate technology and creativity, people start having this misconception. These two sections do not understand each other. I was in a festival of creativity in Milan yesterday. Creatives are scared to death. They are shitting in their pants that technology is taking over the world. I'm not sure if I understood the gentleman before us talking about AI and how AI is advancing. Creative people have heard the word AI maybe not more than 3 years ago, 2 years ago, but I know the professors who are working with us in our school have been working on AI for the last 20 years. So AI was there before 90% of us were even talking about it. So the misconception, how fast AI is taking over the world and how the machine is gonna come and eat your brain, these are like stuff which, if this happens, maybe in 50 years, in 60 years, but not now. So it's growing very gradually, it's very steady, and we actually need to know exactly what that is in order to best use it. And I think when we bring creativity and technology together, it's much more about how they can help one another to understand the right picture. If you want to help the world to become a great place, and we actually go for an amazing place in our school, because great is not good enough, is the idea of let these two first understand each other, respect each other, and know how to use one another. So this is the pillar we base on.
Okay, so let's talk about the place where these two elements come together, the school and the campus. Let's talk about the startups that are emerging inside of it. Tell us something about it.
So starting investing seriously about 3 years ago, and we had one villa in Rome, similar to this one. That was the headquarters of Translated, my first company, and we had some desk free, and we hosted one other company, Memopal. That company, Memopal, was doing something very similar to Dropbox a few months ago, actually, before Dropbox. Unfortunately, it didn't win the battle against Dropbox, but still was a very successful business. It did an IPO in London last year. And that was the first venture. So we were like helping another startup, local startup, to grow. And then we did another one, and then another one. And we got a couple exit, what is called when you sell the company or go public. And we realized that the model was working. And we also realized that nobody wanted to leave the campus. And the startups, talents, want to stay close to other talents. They want to stay close to people that think in the same way. They're positive, well-educated, a good level of education, and they can actually approach problem in a different way. And so we started doing it. The kind of company that we invested in are mostly, so I would say good half of it is artificial intelligence applied to a different market. So, for example, the two people that created the autopilot for Tesla, Andrew Corey, he left Tesla March this year, and he created a new company called Level 5. And so we're an investor in this company, so creating a new kind of autopilot. And the reason why I invested, it was fun, because the guy, met the guy and he says to me, I want to create my own company because Elon Musk is a little slow. What? So I said, okay, you got me. And they're going very, very fast. And other company, other AI applied to autonomous, for example, drones. So we have this company that is able to create a drone, Skyways is called, that is able to deliver a package of 20 kilograms at a distance of 100 kilometers. So this is not legal in any country, so they don't sell to the civilians, they don't sell to Poste Italiane, they sell to the militaries right now, where they have right to send something to the soldiers in difficult situations, or an emergency situation like an earthquake. We do also have very funny robots called Kiwi Campus, and if you Google it, or you will find a video on YouTube. So 90% of the cost of food delivery, like Just Eat or Deliveroo, 90% of that cost is the driver, the human driver, that takes you the food. So what we did is basically creating a robot that is able to work on the sidewalks in the marciapiede and is able to go to the restaurant, pick the food there, and bring the food to your home in a completely autonomous way. And we do have travel, we do have, and probably our best success is this company called Boom, which is the most horrible name for an airplane. So I know. It's a new Concorde. It's an airplane that will do London to New York in 3 hours, 15 minutes. Again, Google it. We were lucky being the first investors together with Richard Branson and the founder of Y Combinator, Paul Graham. And so this company is creating this amazing plane, and they already got 100 pre-orders from the top airlines in the world. So many other things, small devices, physical devices that allows you to attach it to your keys, and you, from the application, you can know where your keys are. This is called Philo. We have 34, so I cannot mention all of them. But we're always looking for new great opportunities. So if you see one, just point it to me. This is exactly what we would like to do.
Okay. Being a startupper is becoming more and more a generic word. It's like saying writer or politician. But I would like to ask you, both of you, which are the real skills that define a true startupper today?
Let me tell you from the educational perspective, because actually this is one of the components of our, I don't want to actually call it school, I would say educational mission we have. Unlike universities, where you go and start doing work for ages until you learn, your professorship, and then you start writing your first books, knowledge is transferred for a decade before it can be applied. The fundamental of startups, the entrepreneurship, is asking you to dare, to risk, to allow yourself to fail, to fuck up and don't care. And I tell you, if you fuck up, you need to do it hard. So fail hard and big so that it really hurts, learn out of it quickly, stand up and do it next time again. So we are taking those type of components and bringing them together into this area where we say, okay, get the magic of learning based on a space. Space counts. We have the elements, the natural elements. We have water, we have a pool, we have air, we have the earth, and we have our fireplace inside, the real big fireplace. So we really get those elements together. We don't want to have a classroom. We have a villa, which looks like a decent living place, so we'll live in that area and learn. And we take that phenomenon of entrepreneurship, then we take the best class of students, best class of trainers, people who love doing what they do, and get best, most complicated, urgent problems of the planet, putting all of that together, creating an environment of learning. So, and this for me is the very same thing when it comes down to the philosophy of how our startups work. We want to have talent coming together, knowledge coming together, serious problems coming together, and then allowing ourselves to take the step and dare doing it. So
this is a really a creative point of view of being a startupper, I think.
It's the reality we live every day, so to speak.
What do you think about this?
Yeah, well, I agree. I can just rephrase it in different words. So what we look, I think I have analyzed about 1,500 startups in the last 3 years. So that's a good number per day even. And after years, I was able also to look what was the components of the successful one. And being an engineer and not a creative, I do my Excel spreadsheet with all the calculation and try to analyze everything. And so I found basically a few elements. So the first one is the determination. You can recognize the successful people because they are so impassioned to what they're doing that they just look at the target. They don't take care about all the problems in the middle. They just look at the reward of winning. Most of the people I know are are just listing the amount of problems that are there. The successful one look at the award if you win. That's a completely different. You can see this applying every day in every situation. And I think those winning entrepreneurs are like this. The second thing is the resiliency, something that Jamshid mentioned. The speed, when you fall down, the speed that it takes to get up again. So we say that the great founder falls very, very often, but the difference is that he stands up very quickly and he keeps walking. The other thing, and that's a different beast to manage, is the ego. So ego is something that is positive and negative. Ego helps you getting motivated. It's something that you need from an entrepreneur. On the other side, can kill you, because if you're not able to manage your ego, if you have bias on decision, and you start thinking that, no, should I go to this event because I want to appear, or because there is a reason strategically why we should be here, giving something to the audience and getting something from the audience. So if you're able to manage that, then you are a successful entrepreneur. And that I see also all the time. The last point for me, and it's unfortunately is what makes them successful and many of us unsuccessful, is that they're different. And when I mean different, they look like the thing that we consider that will not be successful. If you look at the founders of WhatsApp and you have a picture of them, Google them, they will look like two people from a gang in New York or no, not even, I mean, I would say in Calcutta, maybe. And, you know, with their hoodies, not shaved, and they very look bad. No, those kind of people that will steal your wallet. And that's superficiality of observing people.
Describing my friends.
Hmm?
Yeah, my friends look like this.
Exactly. And so we, all the people, we don't consider them as a stereotype of successful, because we only are able to evaluate success in the past. We look at, oh, who is the successful guy? So we should look like him. No, innovation is the opposite. And so they look different. They don't comply with the standards. They're dropouts. They didn't have a perfect career path. They don't. All the successful ones, they failed in their path of education. They're different. And so if you consider that having a great education, an MBA, is the way you become a great founder, well, look at the startups. They prove the opposite. And they have diseases, dyslexia, Elon Musk. So they have what we consider handicap, which represent for the diversity that actually allow them to do what they do. So diversity at the end, to me, is the very true phenomena that create a great entrepreneur. They're different from what all of you consider something successful.
Okay. And before you said that Italian people is lucky to live in a country where design is spontaneous, is part of its culture. But Italy is not really the most technological country in Europe and in the world. So what are the disadvantages, the elements that don't allow us to grow as a technological country?
Is the mindset. When I travel abroad, I find that, and I talk about Italy, but I think the same applies to entire Europe. The best engineers, when I go to the Valley and I talk to Google or Amazon or eBay, they always say that, no, our engineers are the best people they have. And they're smart. And I'm talking about Europeans in general. No, they're fast. But when we are here, we recognize value in things different from where they recognize value. We think about different things, and that make probably us unsuccessful. Now, I cannot really mention the big list of wrong values, but no, having a fixed job is probably not the easiest one to mention, but there is tons of them, and you recognize that they just think different, and in terms of skills, we have it. Is about a different culture, and I think that if we're exposed to that culture, we are also one of the countries that is better and faster to adapt. We have this in our DNA, so I think that, and that was my plan really with Pi Campus. If I'm able to influence people to show success, our people will change their brain, adapt it, and create world leaders.
What about your point of view?
I was going to say, as someone who...
You're not Italian, so maybe
Exactly.
you can give us a
I was
look.
living in Germany for 30 years, and I always thought, oh, these Germans, like they are too strict, too accurate, and I'm not. I came here and I feel every day so German, because the Italians are so not German, you know, like kind of. But here's the beauty. I realized that you guys, you know how to love yourself, but you don't know how to appreciate yourself. Italian people...
That's a very good point.
No, but that's the truth, at least from my point of view. You have not learned to be proud of yourself while you know how to love yourself. You know, I don't know how better to explain it. So, and in fact, that's what the environment I entered at Pi Campus, and it's truly, this is not sliming to my partner. This is the reality why I ended up moving from Berlin, which is a city I love, to Rome now, with my family for good. The campus is different, is a future Rome, is a future Italy. I believe that this is where you guys can go to. Like, you have everything and you're not making the best out of it. Is the oldest country. You have the culture, you have the beauty, you have the laziness, you have everything you want to be happy, and you're not making the best out of it. And there at Pi Campus, we are pushing people to change that. So I'm really excited. So I disagree with you. It's not true that Italy cannot be the most successful, technologically driven country, because the talent is there, the knowledge is available to everyone now. We are a globalized, system nowadays. So what you offer and what the demand is makes the mixture. So if the marketplace is having a nice area to live and work in, the talent would come here. Why all intelligent Indians and Persian mathematicians go to America? Because an environment is given what they don't have in their country. So if you have an environment here which invites, come here and do this stuff here, why would I go to some cold country, some harsh country? Why not enjoying life here? That's why, as Marco said, you know what? These guys have startups in garages. I am Dolce Vita, so my garage is a villa. I immediately knew, okay, this is the place to go to.
Okay, so we really need places like campus to be proud of ourselves. So thank you very much, Marco, and thank you very much, Jamshid.
Thank you. Thanks for that.